Greetings, Devans. I know this is lagging a little bit here and there. And that's because of the internet connection. So I hope this will take some few seconds to connect and give notifications. So I'm here for a short live today. Probably just half an hour because I've got another personal session today. So this internet has been fluctuating all the time. It's a little difficult from the room. Nevertheless, I am just switching the mobile carriers and it's working somehow. So today I am just having a half an hour session because I got another personal session at 10:30 p.m. So I came a little late from there, and today whole day was beautiful on the hill and around. I met a beautiful family actually here, a mother and daughter. They have come from Mauritius. So almost whole day, I think from 11 o'clock I've been with them. We were in Arusha and the gap timing that we had, we were just planning out because they were needed some help. They are touring South India. So I was chalking out the plans with them and most of the time I was there. And then we spent some time in Ramanashram and the elderly lady wanted to move to the Arunachala hill and then I went with them. And then we came down and then suddenly the Mauni Siddhar plan set in and we could go and take his darshan and so that's how the whole day went. So moments of silence and moments of awareness, the whole day, it was beautiful. So I thought I'll just come in and just share with you for a few moments and then leave. Hope you're doing good. So we were talking actually on the Guru's grace there. And that pulled me in again today to talk with them because they are from the same group that I belong to. And we were talking about the grace of the Guru, which here in Ramana Tattva also, a lot has been mentioned about the grace of the Guru. Of course, Sri Ramana says that Guru is the self and God. But before that, it is also mentioned that the Guru always comes outside in the external world, in the Dvayat form, dual form, and then he leads us to the inner Guru. So most of our journey is during that time. So yes, we do speak of the inner Guru. Good morning, Javiz. We do speak of the inner Guru, but then most of our life is spent in the external Guru, with the external Guru. So the external Guru does play a major role. There's no doubt about it. Absolutely no doubt about it. Because without the grace of even that external being, you cannot get within. So that same manifestation of Divine Supreme that comes in the form of the external Guru is very, very important. That is why even when people talk to me about connectivity, most of the people who connect to me on the personal sessions and all that is, most of them have connectivity issues. Like right now I'm having internet connectivity issues. It is fluctuating, it comes and goes, comes and goes. So most of them are in that kind of a phase where they have this. So that's quite natural. It's not very easy. Not just with the Guru, our connection with the Supreme, our connection with our higher self, our connection with our inner self, this always fluctuates. And it sort of kind of needs reassurance. So it's very funny because when there is a disconnection with the divine or with the inner self, the external guru comes and connects that. He bridges the gap and he is the one who takes you within, and he is like a reminder, and he is the one who patches you up with your journey and all that. But then what happens if you miss out the connection with the connector? that's that's a catch. So it's so important because he's the boat to take you offshore to the other shore. So if that connection goes missing, then yes, something needs to be done urgently. Because not everybody might be in that state where suddenly they might be accepting their own inner self as their inner guru and the guide and the mentor and the light within and all that. It's not. So we might have these kind of issues. But then, as I say, it's all temporary. It's only momentary, all these problems, because it keeps fluctuating. Like I am having this internet issue. So it kept fluctuating for a long time. But I didn't give up. Yesterday also the same thing. I kept doing this, that, and it came, because that's the law. What disconnects has to connect. Dual world. Non-duality, there is only connection. There is only one word. Alignment, merging, unition, unity. There is no two. So there is no question of disconnection. Like somebody the other day was telling me, we remember our Guru so much when time is not good or things don't go well. We remember the Guru so much. I said, that's the problem. Why remember him only when you have a problem or when you have a discussion? Not just Guru, even God or whoever you believe in, your angels, your guardian angels, whichever realm you're connected to, your ascended master, your spiritual guide, whoever that is. Why should we remember that element only when we have a problem? How about keeping that connection at all times, good times and bad times? How about that feeling of gratitude while the things are going good? And the gratitude even while the things are going bad, because you know it's for a reason. And you know that connection will happen again. So if we develop this kind of an attitude, that takes us towards Advaita. That takes us towards unition with the Guru, Tattva. If you notice and observe, you will notice that I never speak directly about Guru. I never say Shiva. I always say Shiva Tattva. I am in the habit of that. Shiva Tattva. So I don't say Guru, I say Guru Tattva. Because it's the element, the consciousness. The whole practice should be in aligning to the consciousness. If that we develop an habit, and once we have the glimpse of how it works, the unition of the consciousness, the alignment, then I don't believe it's very difficult to keep that connected. See, the problem of connection and disconnection is only when you are in the dual mode, when you fall in the dual mode. How about going in the Advait mode, non-dual mode? Because in the non-dual mode, there is no two. You are always one with that Tattva. Yoga Skuru Karmani, what we talk about. Always aligned. So if you carry that feeling, that bhava, and that intention of oneness with the Guru Tattva or the Shiva Tattva, why should there be a disconnection itself? I don't believe in a disconnection because, see, anyways you take it. Advaita, there is no disconnection because you are always connected. You cannot be, there is no two, there is always one, just mixed. And even if you fall into the dual mode, there is nothing to worry about, because dual mode, there cannot be just one. There will always be the opposites. Like I say, if there is a day, there has to be a night. If there is rain, there has to be sunshine. Always, if there is a black, there has to be a white. In that manner, if there is a disconnection, there has to be a connection. It cannot be just disconnected forever. Dvaita. So in both modes there is nothing to actually worry about. Only thing is when you are in the disconnected mode or things are not moving well, then you just need to have this awareness that okay, you are in a dual mode. If it is rains, there is going to be sunshine. Just that knowing will give you patience because everything has to pass. Everything will pass. I met a friend today, a different friend again, who is going through some little bad phase of life. So much that he is so much upset with the things that's happening to him. And he said like, I never imagined things to go so deep, so wrongly, messed up with. All I was telling him is that this too shall pass. This too shall pass means dual mode again. Nothing in the dual mode is permanent. At one time it is this, at one time it is that. You see, there is nothing consistency here in the dual mode. It cannot happen. It cannot happen. You cannot have always night. There has to be a day. So when you know the theory, that's how nature works. When you know that, you must know that the other is going to come. You cannot say, I have a birth now and I'm going to live forever. It's stupid. Because the opposite will come. What is the opposite? Death. Death has to come. And when you die, when we know we are going to die one day, it is obviously very true at the same time that you are not going to be dead forever. You are going to revive in some other form. Life is going to continue now. Whichever format you believe in, even if you come in the Advaita mode, I am immortal. I have no death because I am the soul. There also you see there is nothing to worry about. If you are immortal and you are the soul that is always infinite, never ending, everlasting, what is there to worry in that? You are there forever. And let's say you are not in that mode, you have slipped into Advaita mode, you are scared now. Oh, if I am alive today, that means I am going to be dead one day. Opposite. What is to be scared? Because when you know you are alive, you are sure that you are going to die. Then if you are in that mode, you know if you die, then you know you are going to live again. So anyways you take Dvait or Advait, there is actually no reason to worry. Only advantage is when you are in the non-dual mode, it is consistent in one way. The alignment is so consistent that you never feel alone or whatever. You are always connected and all that. But here then, there is temporary disconnection because of the opposites. The polarity is always functioning. So when you are in the polarity mode, where in the lower mode, you know there is a upper. You know there is a higher when there is a lower. So just having this kind of an awareness also is enough. That is why they say this too shall pass. This has to pass. It cannot remain permanent. But then, that's why I always speak about the middle path. Only when you come into the middle can you experience what I am telling. This too shall pass, you can say only from the middle. It's easier to say because you remain unaffected. Unaffected by any of the polarity. If you are not in the center and you move to any extreme end, then it's a difficulty. Suppose you are going through a low phase, then you get carried away with that current. Because you are not in the center, you are not grounded, you are not leveled up, you are not neutral, you get carried away with that force and then it's very difficult. Very difficult even if you know there is an opposite on the other side. Very difficult. Because at that time nothing else will matter. Only that low phase will matter. That is why if you stay in the center, you are not falling for it. You can see the lower end, but you are not attached to that lower end so much. You are not fallen into that pit. But you can see the phase is negative. Okay. So you remain much. And then at the same time, when the going goes good, when everything is going goody goody in the life, when there is only pleasure and happiness, know that also will pass. That also has to pass. Which even the goodiness, that is practical spirituality. What we tend to do is when we fall, we say, okay, it will pass. And then we wait. But when we are in good times, then we want it to be everlasting. Is that possible? Is that practical? No way. Because life is always like a pendulum, it is dangling between both ends. If there is birth, it will dangle to death. From death to birth, birth to death, day to night, night to day, to bad, bad to good, positive to negative, negative to positive. This is always happening, this pendulum. But what happens when we go to the negative, we think, oh, okay, it's one day it's going to positive. Yes, it will go. Then when it is going to positive, then you say, no, it's going to be forever, and you forget, no, now my life is. Then you will be bound, then you are bound to get rude shocks. So to avoid that rude shock all the time from this fluctuating life in this polarity, because earth means polarity, you can't help it. Till you are on this earth planet, you are going to be affected by polarity. There is no way out. That is why they say, the sages say, if you are so affected by polarity and you don't like polarity, then you have the option of exiting this polarity. What is the way of exiting the polarity? There is only one way, that is liberation. That polarity is called Janmam and Maranam. Punarapi Janmam, Punarapi Maranam. The two ends. If you want to get out of these two ends, come to the center where you remain unaffected till that time when you are completely unaffected, and that state is called the liberated state, Jivan Mukta state. That is the time you are already in the living, you are unaffected by birth or death, good or bad, positive or negative, happiness or sorrow. So the whole practice in spirituality is to come to the center again, the middle path. As much as possible stay in the center without moving from this centered. Centered means what? See the English word. Remain centered, they say. Centered means the same. Remain in the center. So when you're centered, you're balanced, you're grounded. And that bringing that unwavering centerness is called the middle path. Now all the paths lead you to the middle path. Any path you take. It will stop the dangling. Any path you take. Sthirta, the stillness. What is stillness? We often talk in this path of the mystics, the stillness. Like Ramana's path and all that. Awareness. When you shift into awareness, there is a certain kind of stillness that comes into the body. The mind becomes still, the body becomes still. Everything becomes still, the whole world becomes still, your eyes become still. You watch anything, everything stills down. Still means no movement. See, here also you can see the pendulum has movement, polarity. The moment you shift into awareness, the stillness comes. Stillness means again centered, the middle path. So now it is still. Because it is still, you are unaffected by this or this. If it was not still, then you will be affected by both these ends. Are you getting it? So all the paths are to stop this dangling mind. What is this dangling mind, moving mind? This is Chanchalman, the fickle mind. It's always jumping from one thing to it's never sthir. It is never still. So how do we still it? So many practices are prescribed by the scriptures, by the great mystics. So many practices are there. So many sadhanas. So many paths. What is the objective of all the path? Still, any path you take, Raj Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, anything. That is why the oneness that we talk about, the objective of everything is one. And only in that stillness you achieve God. Where is God? He is in your heart. It is said. See, technically speaking, it all comes to that. It's in the heart. Where is the heart? Where is the heart in you? If you see where is the heart in you, you will observe that it is in your center. Center. So only when you are centered, you can come to this middle point. What is the middle point? The center point? See the words. Middle. Middle path. You take anything. It's the middle path. So many technicalities you take, it comes to that. You have Ida Pingla, always fluctuating. Now you cannot enter into Samadhi when the Ida Pingla is active. When does Samadhi happen? When the Sushumna, when the consciousness rises through the Sushumna. Where is the Sushumna? Exactly in the center. Anyway, anything you take, it has all got to do with your center. You have two eyes, always fluctuating outside, Bahemukhi, looking here, there, and always looking here and there, distracted. Flickering eyes. Only when the eyes still, when you get into awareness, what happens? You cannot be like this also. It automatically comes to the center. Not just center, the moment stops and it stills. When this eyes still, see again, center. Both the eyes come to the center, the middle, it stills, the middle path. These two eyes move, it stops, the function of this eye stops because you become blank, and then the middle eye opens up. See again, middle. Centered eye opens up. So can you see, everything is about the center. So many examples. And this just spontaneously flowed while I am speaking. Everything is center. Anything you see, it has to be center. Nothing goes from dual ends. Dual ends means abnormality. See, when you are Brahmarand, your soul has to leave. The highest point that you leave is from your center, the skull center. So this gives us all this example of having a stable life. When you are riding a bike or a bicycle, you cannot ride it like this. You cannot ride it like this. You have to be centered. Then only you move straight on the path. Anything you take, it has to be centered. Even you take anything spinning, then you spin a ball. Which is the most unstable part? Any edge of the ball in the circumference. Because it's always moving. Now it is facing north, after some time it will face south here, this side. And it keeps on moving, like the earth. But what doesn't move in the ball? The center point. No movement. The only still point in the circle is the center. Why there is stillness? Because it is centered. Anything you take, any example you take in Prakriti, it's all about centering. That is why we call the middle path. Come to the center. Be centered, they say. I am in my heart center, they say. In that manner. The time, I have another 15 minutes. I have a session, personal session today. And it's been booked a late night session because that person is from UK. So usually when we have these sessions, it goes a little late on IST time. Wish of love from California. Greetings to you, dear one. So, do we have anything questions? More in silence, and the day went very beautiful. No hyper activities, very simple activities. I'm coming to Bangalore on Sunday. Sunday, I don't know if it's a Sunday. I think 25th is a Sunday. So some of my friends have been inviting on Sunday, the Christmas day. So I'll be in Bangalore. In case you are in and around in Bangalore, we shall catch up. So today's message was very short. I think this is the shortest live that I'm doing ever. So today's day was I didn't expect it to be more in Arusha because I just when I entered yesterday I met those two people from Mauritius, and then we had a good talk, and then they wanted some guidance on how to travel the south. And she was telling, we wanted to go to the south and we were leaving from Mauritius. We didn't know we didn't know whom to call, what to do. We thought of calling you, then thought again you might respond or no, we don't know, and all those things. And I was just hoping, if things would fall in place, and something kept telling me, come here. And then I was wondering after I came here, why did I come here? And such a long time, I'm old. Mother is old again. I don't want to do these things. And see, you're here. At that moment, I just entered the hotel, the restaurant. It was like to Nimari entry or I was like a hero walked in there, zoom. And then they praised and all those things. Then I said, okay, fine, let's do some work on this. Then we sat and chalked out all the things, various places. They are supposed to take some domestic flights, and the best part is they wanted to do Kanyangat. So that was fluctuating in their mind. Kanyanad is on one end of Kerala, and we are in the other end of here, Tamil Nadu, and some other point down there in Kanyakumari and Rameshwaram. There, so it was like a triangle. All these places. So dots were not connecting. How? So it took us just I think 1 hour today to just chalk out, and then they are taking some 2 domestic flights and some taxi, and I think we'll be done. Everything is like fixed. Just a couple of days. So we have a nice taxi guy also here actually. Anitaji, the taxi that you use, a good person actually. So we are taking his help. He keeps on picking people from airport and all those things. So it's a good network that's happening here. Yeah, it's a good network that's happening here. So I'm expecting some good events also to happen here, because Ashok Bhai, he literally asked me twice now, because Ashok Bhai is a resident of this place and he owns some properties here, and he leases houses out his rooms and houses here. So he was very keen, because he often watches my platforms, and he had yeah, Nitaji. So he was very happy seeing these things. And what he was telling me, he has got a couple of very good friends who are needing guidance, and most of them are all from the foreign lands. So he was asking, literally, if you could do this, the sessions of awareness and teach awareness, because even in such a place there is so much of misguidance. People come and they're lost. They get into something else and it's all gone. So it's like making the simple aspects of life only, being very centered and very cautious. So I don't call this as cautiousness of the mind, because that is cunningness of the mind. When we try to use our mind too much, it becomes very cunning. And we cannot trust the mind. Trust me, we cannot trust the mind. You have to settle it down to some higher awareness, consciousness. So that is where awareness comes very handy. And I have seen that when the moment you are settled down in certain kind of awareness, the wisdom also comes from within. Very beautiful wisdom and the truth, the ultimate truth, the guidance, the true guidance, the protection. All this begins happening in this state of awareness, because awareness means surrender. Awareness is nothing else. Awareness means I don't trust my mind. I am not leading through my mind, because when I use my mind, I become the doer. The thinker is the doer and the doer is the sufferer. So I take things always in my hand. This is what happens. In awareness, that doesn't happen. In awareness, you have seen, you have no control over yourself. You don't have even control over your eyes, your bodies, everything. It just goes loose and it falls into a certain kind of automatic zone. So that automatic zone is the divine will. So you call it surrender, you call it any fancy name. It goes into that mode of non-doership. The being, from the doing, it shifts to the being. So while I was teaching all these, and while I was experimenting the same on my life, because I am talking all this from my own life experiments. So where it works, I know. So there I have conviction it goes this way. So while I was doing that, and then I happened to come here, Arunachala's grace, I happened to come here, and then I saw the concepts that I am talking about and what's happening here, and everything is so perfectly synchronized. So that gave the boost. So I understood this tattva, and that what I'm talking is just nothing but the same. So I had my own doubts, but then people confirmed it to me. People said it in different ways. This is nothing but that. Ashok Vai was one. Because he could see it's the same tattva of being centered and so many things. So, okay, I don't know how, but because I don't want to be the doer yet. That's why the delays are happening. Kalidas is here, he has been behind me all the time. I haven't met him this time. Can you believe that? And he stays downstairs. So I got his message. Today also I got his message. I think he's watching the live probably. So I said we'll meet tomorrow. So that's how it goes. There's that beautiful saying, attached with nothing, but connected to everything. That must be our life. That's how we must walk. We are alone. So the journey reminds that. And that's what I think, if there is an opportunity and the platform is here, definitely I would like to use that. So I'm happy, let it be. So people have confirmed to me that what this is happening is nothing but the alignment with these very beautiful truths. And somehow when I have daggered, people have reminded me, no, it's right. It helps. So even the Swamiji, Anantirth Maharaj in Uttarkashi, I was just taken by surprise when he said that this isn't perfect, you must do this. And he even offered his place there in the Himalayas, in his ashram in Uttarkashi. He said, anytime you're welcome. You can come with any number of people and any number of days. So he said, if you want any of my guidance, I'm there. And there is this whole ashram here, this whole library here, the whole Vedshala is here. And there are good teachers here, who teach Vedanta. So I was surprised, taken by surprise. I said, okay, fine. So that happened at the same time. Here Tiruvannamalai was getting the same time, and there in Kanjangad also the same time. So that has been postponing for a long time. But this time the thing just fell in place, the trip fell in place, and exactly near Janananda Swami's Samadhi, I was just moving and I met the main person there. We were taking the rotations around, the parikrama. And I met him, and suddenly this topic came up, and he was more than happy. Because he told me, Kanjangad, Bhagwan has built these caves for this purposes only. There is a purpose for this, and we have already renovated it, cleaned it up, and all those things. So he said it's glad if people come, and we are glad if more people meditate in these places. So I told him about the accommodation. He said, we will arrange you if you just send us a message a couple of days before, we will look into it, and we will see to it that we provide, because food and accommodation is taken place and all that. So just some a particular amount has to be fixed, because all ashrams run on donation basis, and it's not right to just take their services for free. That's absolutely not right. So those are the things I'm just talking with them. But he was not very keen on that. He said, "Okay, if this is happening, it's good. You can definitely do." And since they know me all these years, so that's an advantage. So I think simultaneously that has happened, but I have no clue as to how and where it is going to head. And at the same time, yeah, there Manojji from Rishi Gurukulam also had approached me for, suddenly that also came as a surprise, and things happened, and there's a retreat already happening. So I am not very sure how these things are going. I'm just, yeah, Anita ji, looking forward to see you all in Pune retreat. I heard that 7, 8 people have already. I don't know the names and all that, but I got message from that. From my side, I mean the platform of shifting to awareness. There are around 7, 8 people who have, and that's good. I mean, I'm happy. I had not expected even two of you there, but that's good. Maybe that's probably the keenness of wanting to experience this more in a very practical and simple way, and I would like to keep it that way. So I think Arunachala is giving me that opportunity, because today I was with that family, and I don't know why I was with the family, because I never sit with anybody, I never move around. I am in my own space, and I don't like to be distracted. So you can ask anybody here, Kalidas and all that. So we don't meet. Sometimes on the last day while going and all, somewhere we catch up and all that. Otherwise, we are in our own spaces. But today, almost more than half day I spent. But all I could see was I was moving with them, and something made me move with them. So I just went with the flow without restricting anything, and I was moving around. I could see a certain amount of talking was happening, but the talking was very centered. Their questions were very centered. They were not wanting to know anything, but certain things, while moving around, things simmered down, and then a lot of feedback started coming from them. I was just moving with them for more than half a day. I didn't do anything. There's no like preaching or teaching, nothing like that. They were asking something spontaneous, and we were there. Some moments of silence, some places we sat, and all that. And by the end of the day, when we finished, Auntie Ji was very happy. She was like, I think I found my son. It's like I found my son. I said, no, it's not. Because they were very happy. And they were very worried what will happen and all this in this old age. Where are we going to drag around and all those things? And then they saw everything just happened. They were moving whole day, and nobody got tired. And though we didn't go up the hill completely, I took them to another isolated spot where I said, you sit here. And they said, this is what I wanted. And Auntie Ji was telling, you know something, beta, I was close to 60, 70 years before, I used to dream of a place which is like a forest. And today I'm sitting on this rock and I'm seeing exactly that scene here. I said, not now, when I was 8 or 10 years old, that time. And now this thing I'm seeing exactly the same. So I don't know what those mysteries are. I didn't get into it, but I was happy that Arunachala is just guiding me what I should be doing in the coming days. Or it's not like a teaching, or it's not like a training, or it's not like what you call healing or initiations and all. Nothing of that sort. Because we were so friendly, we were just like seekers moving together. And that's what I always prefer to be. I do not want to take up an up front and a higher pedestal seat and sit there like a teacher or a master or a guru, and that's the last thing I want to do in my life. I'm not very comfortable with it. Rather, I'd like to move around in the crowd and be a part of it, and be happening, things happening with them, and my happenings sharing with them. And it's like, over a period of time, we just realize that we are all one, and we can be aligned and we can be understanding and realizing the same ultimate truth at the same time, without somebody having to teach us something or make us do something and all. Because in somebody making us do, it's more, I believe it is slavery. Because I've seen all this. We become parasites from this end to that end. Somebody depending on something, being with something, and I'm the last person to give that kind of help. Anybody who tries to cling on to me, I just run away from them. And they learn in that process. They learn very beautifully in that process. Because that is the ultimate truth. You cannot go with anybody. You cannot. You have to learn to be alone. You have to learn to trust your own inner voice. You have to learn to trust your own inner guru. You have to trust to activate that thing within you. That is my whole effort about. Whatever I talk, it is that should activate. And you should, I have told this since 3 years, since COVID times, that I do not want anybody hanging around this platform forever. You come, you understand, you learn, you detach, and then you evolve on your own and all that, and then it's fine. You don't need any platforms all your life, because if you go with that kind of an attitude, then it's very difficult, because that becomes your tendency, that becomes your karma, that becomes a sanskara very strong of dependency. So we should always be looking into that kind of a space where we can actually fly on our own. And that can happen with equal platforms. Very common platforms and very simple. It's very, very simple. Today I think Arunachala wanted me to experience that, or wanted to give them that experience. That just by walking in a certain level of awareness, so much can be understood, more than talking. So much of talking. So there, when you get that experience, yes, it's there within me. It's there within me. So when I am talking even about the Guru conscious and reminding them about the Guru, inner Guru, and how when you connect to that, you are actually connecting to that external Guru. That also is possible. So all these things are there. I think it's 10:30 now. Tomorrow maybe I'll come little early and take a session. If there is no bookings for tomorrow, then I'll do that. I tried to do from the hill today, but I was not able to, because somebody was there with me, and also I was very connected to that space. I wanted to be there. So let's see. I'm there for another 2 days, tomorrow and day after, and then I'm moving one day, 25th, to Bangalore, and then let me see where further. So I think I'll take your leave now. Much divine love and light to all of you, dear ones, even those who are watching this recording. 24th morning I'll reach there and wish. Oh, आप 24 को आ रहे हो कनु भाई? I'll surely meet then. 24th we will surely meet. Umaji had told, I think it was 26th. I thought it is 26th. No problem. फिर I am very happy. बहुत खुशी आप आ रहे हो, और केरला से आ रहे हो, बहुत ही खुशी है. मुझे लगा था कांजंगाड़ वहाँ कहाँ तो मिलेंगे हम लोग, but I think we are destined to meet in Tiruvannamalai. Let the divine will happen. मिलेंगे कन्नू भाई 24th को. So I'll take your leave. Somebody there is waiting for me on a call, on a personal session. So I'm going there. May the Lord bless all of you. Lord Arunachala from here. May we all evolve. Stay blessed and take care.